Before the monster had a face, it had a room. Lake Geneva, summer 1816. Rain presses against the windows, candles shorten. At a table sits Mary Godwin, Mary Shelley, surrounded by people whose names already carry weight. Byron, Percy Shelley, Polidori. They have poems, theories, fragments. Mary has a challenge, and by her later account, no story. That is where the legend usually begins. One storm, one flash, one monster. But listen closely, and the legend starts to come apart. The book will take years of memory, writing, and revision. Its first edition will hide her name, and the woman inside this crowded summer will spend the rest of her life watching the world mistake her creation for something simpler. Mary was born in 1797. Her mother, Mary Wollstonecraft, died shortly after her birth. Her father was William Godwin. Those facts stand at the door of her life. They do not unlock every room inside it. It is tempting to point at an early loss and announce that we have solved Frankenstein. We have not. By 1816, she had travelled with Percy Bysshe Shelley, endured losses, and learned how fiercely this circle could think. Poetry, politics, and new ideas about life were not polite dinner talk here. They were arguments that could follow you upstairs, keep you awake, and make the ordinary body seem suddenly mysterious. The summer was strange enough to gain a name, the year without a summer. Tambora's great eruption in 1815 had helped disturb weather far beyond Indonesia. Around Lake Geneva, cold and wet days drove the travelling group indoors more than they expected. But weather is not a villain with a pen. It did not write the novel for Mary. It closed the circle tighter. Byron had leased the Villa Diodati. Mary and Percy stayed nearby with Claire Clairmont. John Polidori moved through the same orbit. Later paintings often trap them all in one haunted house. The surviving story is messier, and therefore more alive. People moving between rooms, reading, arguing, waiting for a new idea to arrive. In the introduction she wrote for the 1831 edition, Mary Shelley remembered translated German ghost stories being read aloud. Then Byron made the dare. Each person should write a ghost story. For Mary, it became a trapdoor. Others found their starts. She did not. Days passed. A future classic began as an empty space at the centre of a conversation. Her later account also remembers talk about natural philosophy, about the disturbing possibility that something which looked dead might move again. We have no recording of the men's exact words. We have the pressure their ideas left behind. No surviving line records Mary's private thought. The next voice is imagined, not a quotation.
They have all begun. I have only the blank page, and the fear that the blankness is the truest thing about me.
Then comes the image. Mary told it 15 years later, in 1831, so we must hear it as memory looking backwards, not as a camera hidden in the room. After days of thinking, she lay down. She did not sleep. She called what followed a waking dream. She saw a student of forbidden arts beside the thing he had assembled. It stirred. Its maker recoiled. That is the spark she chose to give us. Not a triumphant inventor, not a thunderclap, but someone who succeeds and immediately cannot bear the sight of success. In that recoil, the book's most dangerous question is already awake. What does a creator owe the life he makes? By morning, the vision had not become a novel. It became pages. The surviving Frankenstein notebooks show ink, additions, crossings out, and work. This replaces the myth of effortless genius. An image has arrived, but now it must survive sentences, doubts, other readers, and revision. Every page also sharpens the danger. The student will make life, then flee from it. The abandoned being will learn language, longing, and rage. Mary is not simply writing a monster story. She is setting a trap for anyone who believes creation ends at the moment of creation. The next voice is also imagined. It is not a diary entry, not a surviving letter, and not a claim about Mary's private motive.
If I give this creature a voice, I cannot pretend not to hear him when everyone else turns away.
On the 1st of January 1818, Frankenstein, or the modern Prometheus, appeared in London. Mary Shelley's name was not on its title page. That much is solid. Why anonymity was necessary is less solid. The period had many pressures. A single neat answer would be another fiction laid over a complicated life. Imagine the first reader opening that book. Before them, a tale of ambition, pursuit, and abandonment. Missing the young woman's name. Later, arguments about Percy's role and the anonymous preface would blur the authorship further, but the notebooks remain. So does the novel. The most important fact survives the fog. It was Mary's book, even while the public was asked to read it without Mary Shelley in view. Her name appeared on the 1823 edition. In 1831, Mary Shelley revised the novel and wrote the introduction that made Geneva famous. The ghost story Dare, the sleepless image, the maker recoiling from what moves. There is another twist. That introduction is not merely a key handed to us from 1816. It is a work written by a mature author after bereavement, criticism, and fame. She is looking back across a changed landscape and choosing how to lead us into the first room. Taking her seriously means allowing that complexity. Memory can be truthful without being a stenographer. A writer can be both witness to her past and the architect of its story. In 1822, Percy Shelley drowned. Mary Shelley kept writing, editing, and supporting herself and her son. She did not become a footnote to one Swiss summer. Yet her book travelled into places she could not control. The scientist's surname, Frankenstein, was often given to the creature. Stages and films added their own laboratories, bolts, and faces. Soon many people knew a monster they had never actually met in Mary's pages. The author watched her creation become a legend, and the legend become a mask. Once more, this is only a dramatic possibility, an imagined thought, not Mary Shelley's recorded voice, and not a diagnosis of her feelings.
If they remember only the preacher, will they forget the hand that let him speak, and the hand that could not let him go?
So return to Lake Geneva, not to a locked chamber where genius struck once, but to the threshold of a long writing life. Outside, the lake and weather belong to history. Inside, the exact private silence is gone. We cannot recover it, and we should not counterfeit it as evidence. What remains is enough. A remembered dare, a waking dream described years later, pages that can still be examined, a first edition without a name, and later editions that restore it. Frankenstein is a story about a creator who refuses a debt. Mary Shelley's own story leaves us with another debt, to look past the monster and see the writer still standing in the room where it began.